My name is Nathan Hawkins. I am 50 years old, and this story is not about anger. It's about what happens when people confuse loyalty with weakness. For 31 years, I built things quietly. Not companies, people, systems, reputations. I was never the loudest voice in the room. I didn't dominate meetings. I didn't sell visions. I executed realities. When deals went wrong, I fixed them. When teams failed, I protected them. When leadership made mistakes, I absorbed the damage. That was my role. Unofficial, unrewarded, essential. People don't notice foundations. They notice buildings. The younger executives called me old school, not as an insult, as a dismissal. They wanted speed, visibility, momentum. I wanted stability, memory, accountability. We coexisted for years, until ambition got impatient. The shift didn't come with conflict. It came with language, streamlining, modernizing, restructuring, words that mean removal without responsibility. One morning, my calendar was empty, meetings reassigned, approvals redirected, authority diluted. No explanation, just absence. The man leading this change was someone I mentored, trained, defended. I trusted him. That was my mistake. He smiled gently when I asked, "Nathan, we need agility, not anchors." Anchors. That's what you call someone who prevents you from drifting. 2 weeks later, HR scheduled a conversation. They always do. They thanked me for my contribution, praised my legacy, then removed my access. No accusations, no warnings, just elimination. At home, I didn't feel rage. I felt clarity. They didn't remove me because I failed. They removed me because I remembered too much. I knew which shortcuts were taken, which risks were hidden, which decisions were protected by silence. Memory is dangerous when ambition gets careless. I didn't threaten anyone, didn't expose anything. I simply stepped away, and that's when things began to break. No. T loudly. Not immediately, but inevitably. Teams started duplicating work. Approvals overlapped. Clients received contradictory answers. The system had lost its spine. A former colleague called me late one night. Not angry, not emotional. Careful. "Nathan, did you design the fallback protocols?" I paused, then answered, "Yes." "We can't find them." I smiled quietly. "They were never written," I said. "They were remembered." Silence followed. Heavy. That was the moment I understood. They hadn't replaced me. They had erased themselves. I opened my notebook and wrote. They thought experience was optional. They're about to learn it's structural. This wasn't revenge. Not yet. This was gravity preparing to speak. They thought removing me would create freedom. It created confusion. At first, the changes looked efficient. Fewer meetings, faster approvals, shorter emails. Speed always looks like success in the beginning. Then questions started appearing. Not urgent, persistent. Why were two teams doing the same work? Who approved the exception? Which version of the process was current? No one knew. They blamed transition. Transition is a comfortable lie. I stayed silent. Not hiding. Observing. I declined calls politely. Answered messages selectively. Memory becomes leverage when it's controlled. Inside the company, the new leadership pushed harder. They believed pressure would restore order. Pressure only exposes fractures. One major client raised concerns. Not complaints. Concerns. Those are worse. They requested documentation, not explanations. Documentation demands truth. The team scrambled. Files incomplete. Approvals missing. Context lost. That's when my name surfaced. Not publicly. In whispers. Did Nathan use to handle this? Wasn't there a protocol for this? He would know. The man who replaced me dismissed it. Confidently. We don't need legacy thinking. Legacy thinking had prevented this exact scenario. The client paused the engagement. Not canceled. Paused. Pauses hurt reputations quietly. Internally, tension rose. Teams stopped trusting instructions. Everyone started copying emails. Fear documents itself. I received a call late evening. Familiar voice. Lowered tone. "Nathan, do you remember why we structured it this way?" I did. Perfectly. "Yes," I said. But memory doesn't survive removal. Silence. That silence confirmed something important. They didn't want answers. They wanted relief. I didn't give it. A second issue emerged. Then a third. Different departments. Same cause. The system had lost continuity. I wrote in my notebook. They replaced understanding with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm doesn't age well. The board noticed patterns. They always do. Later than they should. A review was announced. Internal. Safe. I smiled. Internal reviews protect people, not truth. Still, fear escalated. Executives adjusted behavior. Meetings shortened. Decisions delayed. Experience began leaving. Quietly. Voluntarily. When people who understand consequences leave, collapse accelerates. I remained patient. Revenge doesn't rush. It waits for proof. The first sign wasn't a scandal. It was a delay. A routine announcement missed its window. No explanation. Just absence. Markets notice absence. Analysts asked questions. Not aggressive. Precise. Why has guidance changed? What caused the adjustment? Leadership responded confidently. Too confidently. Confidence without data invites scrutiny. A minor discrepancy surfaced. Small enough to ignore. Large enough to signal inconsistency. Then another followed. Different division. Same pattern. Journalists didn't accuse. They compared. Past statements. Current results. Trends don't lie. The phrase appeared. Leadership transition challenges. That's polite language for instability. Inside the company, meetings multiplied. No agendas. Just anxiety. The man who replaced me went on record. Smiling, relaxed. We're aligning processes. Alignment doesn't require reassurance. 2 days later, a partner requested clarification. Publicly. That changed the tone. Clarification requests are warnings. The board called an unscheduled session. No minutes released. That means disagreement. Internally, people began protecting themselves. Instructions documented. Decisions deferred. Fear slows everything. I received messages from old contacts. Indirect. Careful. Nathan, are you watching what's happening? Yes, I replied. I am. My name appeared in a report. Buried, but present. Previously centralized oversight under Nathan Hawkins. Once your name returns, replacement has failed. Leadership noticed. Their tone shifted. Less certainty. More explanation. The man who replaced me shortened interviews. Avoided specifics. Stopped smiling. Confidence cracks quietly. Another issue surfaced. Not dramatic. Expensive. A cost overrun no one could explain. Because explanation requires history, the board commissioned an external review. Independent. Uncontrolled. That's when power shifts. I wrote again. They thought silence would protect them. Silence only delayed recognition. This wasn't revenge yet. This was exposure. The board meeting wasn't dramatic. It was worse. It was quiet. No presentations. No optimism slides. Just documents. The chair opened slowly. We need clarity. Clarity means doubt has already arrived. Questions followed. Not accusatory. Specific. Why were legacy controls removed? Who approved the accelerated framework? What risk assessments were overridden? Answers circled. None landed. Then someone said my name. Casually. Like a reference point. When Nathan handled this, how was it structured? Silence. Because memory doesn't respond when removed. Compliance spoke next. Dry. Measured. Unemotional. That tone dismantles defenses. Patterns emerged. Not illegal. Negligent. Negligence doesn't justify itself. Leadership shifted posture. Eyes avoided contact. Power moved chairs. The chair requested an external audit. Unanimous. No debate. That's surrender. No one protested. Because resistance requires confidence. That evening, my phone buzzed at NO greeting. Just one sentence. The board may request historical context. Context. Not help. They wanted memory back. I waited. Timing matters. Inside the company, fear spread. Emails copied widely. Decisions documented. People protected themselves. 2 senior managers resigned quietly. Experience leaves before blame arrives. When I finally replied, I wrote, available for factual clarification only. That line mattered. The session was calm. No defense. No ego. Just questions. I explained why controls existed. What risks they addressed. What shortcuts exposed. No interruptions. That's rare. When I finished, the chair nodded slowly. We removed continuity. Hat's sentence ended debate. As I left, no one shook my hand. Not out of disrespect. Out of realization. That night, I wrote, when rooms stop defending decisions, they start remembering warnings. This wasn't revenge. It was inevitability. After the clarification session, momentum died. Not publicly. Internally. Decisions slowed. Approval stacked. People waited. Waiting is fear in motion. The board fractured. Not into enemies. Into realists and survivors. Some wanted restoration. Others wanted accountability. Accountability requires names. Names create fallout. The man who replaced me disappeared. First from meetings, then from conversations. Leadership fades before it resigns. An internal notice circulated. Language careful, meaning sharp. Interim leadership adjustments. Adjustments are admissions. The call came early. Direct. No pleasantries. Nathan, we want you back. Not advisory. Not temporary. Back. I didn't answer. Silence measures desperation. They outlined the offer. Authority. Autonomy. Reinstatement. Everything I lost. I asked one question. Who carries responsibility for the last year? Silence. That silence was my answer. They wanted repair without reckoning. I won't return as a shield, I said. I won't absorb failure I didn't create. The tone changed. Later that day, another executive resigned. No announcement. Just absence. Markets reacted nervously. Not violently. Patterns were remembered. That evening, the man who replaced me called. Voice low. Exhausted. I didn't know it would break like this. Leadership doesn't require knowledge. It requires restraint. You removed memory, I replied, and replaced it with confidence that he resigned the next morning. No farewell. No statement. The board called again. Urgent. Different tone. We need you, they said. That sentence shifts power completely. I wrote in my notebook one final line. The greatest leverage is choosing whether to return at all. Revenge had matured. It was no longer emotional. It was ethical. When they asked me back, they expected closure. They didn't understand. Power didn't return to me formally. It returned in silence. In who waited. In who asked. In who hesitated. The board wanted restoration, not reflection. That's always the danger. I met them once more. No contracts. No speeches. Just consequences. They repeated the offer. Expanded it. Promised authority. Legacy. Everything ambition thinks matters. I asked my final question. What survives after I leave again? No one answered. Because nothing would. I won't return as a symbol, I said. I won't be your insurance policy. No argument followed. Understanding arrived quietly. Instead, I proposed something permanent. Distributed oversight. Documented accountability. Systems that don't depend on memory. They accepted. Because collapse educates faster than success. I didn't reclaim my position. I removed the need for it. Months passed. The company stabilized. Not impressively. Correctly. No headlines. No applause. Just fewer mistakes. That's real repair. People asked why I walked away. Why I didn't take revenge completely. Because destruction proves nothing. Structure does. On my 50th birthday, I sat alone with coffee. No bitterness. No pride. Just peace. I didn't ruin them. They collapsed under the weight of what they ignored. I didn't forgive them. Forgiveness wasn't required. Clarity was. This story isn't about revenge. It's about restraint. The strongest revenge is not taking back power. It's making yourself unnecessary to the system that removed you.